So, Coach Javier, it's going to be first championship fight for Islam. What challenges does a championship fight present for him compared to a regular 3-round fight?
Well, the first thing you have to hit with the championship fight is 5 rounds. So you have to be prepared to go mentally 5 rounds. That's number one. Number two, you're fighting either the number one contender or the champion. So you're fighting the best of the best. So those are two things that automatically you have to look at. So there's a lot of preparation that you need to put together for when you're doing 5 rounds, number one, and now you're fighting the best person out there that is in your weight class. So those are two major obstacles right off the bat.
So what adjustments did you have to make leading up to this fight with Oliveira? Maybe game plan, training camp, the mindset?
Well, the beautiful thing about Islam is that we didn't really have to do very much at all. We just had him do 5 rounds, and we've been kind of more or less doing that already. So he's already used to it, and he's so good everywhere. He's a good striker. He's a good in the ground. He's a good wrestler. He has good judo. He has good kick everywhere. He's good everywhere. So really, we just have to get him mentally in shape, mentally focused. And realistically, that's easy to do too, because he's been so well trained from father. Habib's father, Abdulmanap, done such a great job with him that for me, my job is really easy. And any other coach that comes in and trains Islam Makhachev is going to have an easy time with it because father has trained him extremely well from the get-go. From what I hear, he was, the number one student for father. That's according to what Habib had told me. So I can see it. You can see everything in Islam. He's everything that you're supposed to be. He handles himself well outside. He handles himself well inside. So he's the total package.
So Charles probably never faced a wrestler like Islam, especially like a wrestler from Dagestan. But is there anybody who could replicate Oliveira's Jiu-Jitsu in the training camp?
Well, in our training camp, we didn't really have anybody in particular that can do the style with Charles in Jiu-Jitsu, pure Jiu-Jitsu, because none of our guys are really pure Jiu-Jitsu guys. But we didn't need to. We fought many people of that caliber already. Islam's already fought them, and he's beat them. And Charles is just going to be another one of those numbers. We'll see what happens when that time comes, but I'm expecting that Islam is going to, shock them. Meaning Oliveira's camp more than they're going to shock us, because the one thing that I don't think they realize is how good Islam really is, and he's that good, everywhere. Why does Habib praise him so much? Why do I praise him so much? Because he's that good.
So if this fight goes to later rounds, do you see Oliveira getting tired at some point because of his very intensive fighting style?
Well, with Charles, he has a very fast style, and but I think he's in great shape. He's a great champion, so I don't see him getting tired. I see him being in there till the last round, and I don't foresee a early stoppage either because I don't like doing that. I'd rather prepare mentally that we're going in there to do 5 rounds. So I'm looking at it's to be a 5-round fight, and if it happens shorter than that, well, I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for us to win a 5-round war because my mentality as a coach is to be that. Go in there and try to finish every round where we're ahead. So 5 rounds we win.
So unlike Khabib, who can be very emotional at times, Islam looks like a very calm and calculated human being. Does it help you, or maybe sometimes you would rather have Islam be more fired up before and in the fight itself?
No, he's perfect the way he is. That's the way I like it. He's fantastic. If you watch Habib in the corner, he's going a little crazy at times, and I have to settle him down. Now he's settled down a lot more. He's still nervous. Habib's still going to go, when the fight happens, he's going to raise up at me. I'm going to go, slow it down. It's just because, that's his brother. They've known each other for 20 years or so, their whole life basically. And, they love each other so much that they're going to do, everything they can to help each other. And the emotions are going to be there for him. For me, I'm not emotionally tied like that. I'm more as the coach. I've been with Islam since 2015. So I haven't been with him his whole life. I don't train with him. I coach him, but I don't train with him. And Islam has a lot of coaches. I'm not the only coach. He's got Saifullah, who's the Olympic gold medal. The Olympic Taekwondo coach. And then he's got the Magomed, who also runs the Abdulmanap gym, the head coach there. So he has many coaches that train him, but I think the main coach, in my opinion, for him is Habib, and I think it will always be Habib. As long as Islam is doing his thing, it's going to be Habib, his main guy.
So yeah, Islam also confirmed that Khabib can be a very emotional coach when he's in his corner. Do you remember the fight when Khabib was especially fired up cornering Islam?
Well, I mean, not in particular. I remember the one he was more fired up. I just remember always having to tell him to calm down, you know. So he's getting better all the time. He's getting much better. But he's still, for this one here, 100% he's going to be very emotional because, you know, this is a big test. And he knows what a big test this is. This is for the world championship. You know, this is for all the marbles. This is the big one, you know, and he knows what it means for Islam to win this title and what it would mean to Dagestan, to everybody, you know, to his family members, everybody. It would mean a lot, you know, for the Muslim community, for everybody, you know. So this is a big deal. So it's a lot of pressure on them. For me, I've learned how to control it, you know, and it doesn't affect me anymore. I'm going in there to do a job, and I know the job I'm going to do is to have Islam Makhachev become the new lightweight, you know, UFC champion. I'm 100% positive of that, you know. Only one thing could happen that can change that, and that's if Charles lands a good shot. And it's happened before, but, you know, Islam's defense is the best in the business. He doesn't get hit for a reason because he's that good. And that's why I tell people, it's like, you know, they don't seem to understand what I'm saying about how good he is. He's good everywhere.
So you mentioned pressure. Khabib says that Islam can truly shine when he's fighting under pressure. Do you agree with Khabib?
Yes, I do agree with Khabib. Islam will shine under pressure. The more you put on him, the more he'll rise to the occasion. You know, he inside's a warrior through and through. But outside, he doesn't show that emotion. But inside, he's raging inside. He's out to prove he's the best. And he's been working for this for a while. And now it's his turn. It's his turn to shine.
So how do you see Islam's career moving forward? Should he beat Oliveira Saturday night? Do you think he's going to surpass Khabib in the number of title defenses? Is that his goal?
Well, what I see from Islam, once he wins this title, which I believe he will, I see him defending the title more because he's younger. And his situation is different than Khabib. Khabib's situation was much different. You know, he had his father. He lost his father. His mother just didn't want him to fight without his father there. You know, so I understand that. You know, so Islam doesn't have that situation. So Islam's still young too. He's 31. So I can see Islam defending the title more, and I can see him actually even going up in weight if that's what he chose to do because he's good enough. He's good enough to go up in weight and win that title too. It just depends on what Islam wants to do. If Islam wants to defend the title, should he win? When he wins, for me, he's going to win. So I like to say when he wins because I believe he is. I believe it's up to him what he wants to do. But I believe he can defend the title 4, 5, 6 times, 7 times. It's up to him.
So what does Islam need to suppress Khabib's legacy to become considered, you know, the greatest lightweight of all time?
Well, I don't know. For me, the greatest lightweight of all time is that you know, you've never been beaten, you know, and that's one of the characteristics. And for me, Islam would have to do quite a bit of that because he has been beaten one time, unfortunately, you know, and he'd have to go out there and have a more dominant performance as a champion in order for people to consider that. Can it happen? Absolutely, it can happen. Definitely. Is he good enough to do it? Yes, he is. You know, will we do it? I don't know. We don't know that. You know, one thing we do know is Khabib's one of the greatest of all time. To me, I consider him pound for pound the greatest of all time, but that's me. You know, I'm biased. I'm his coach.
So do you see Islam like going for money fights, you know, beating up like people from different weight classes, or just rather stay in the same weight class?
Well, you know, I see Islam going for legacy fights, but also money fights. I can see him after this fight, you know, when we're victorious, and you know, Volkanovski supposedly is the next in line from what I hear and from what I'm reading. I don't know if that's a fact, but if that is a fact, that'd be a great fight. You know, Volkanovski is a warrior GOAT. He's the GOAT right now. You know, he is basically pound for pound number one. You know, so it would be a great fight, you know, between Islam and him, you know, and I could see that happening, and that'd be a good money fight for him, for sure.
So how about stylistically? Do you think it's a good matchup for Islam?
Stylistically, I think anybody's a good matchup for Islam because he's going to find a weakness where he can beat him at. If it ain't striking, it's going to be on the ground. If it isn't that, it's going to be wrestling. He'll find something because he's the best rounded guy in the division.